Welcome to my home. My name is Liz Kalogris, and I live here with my husband, Mike. Our home is a reflection of who we are. It is certainly a place that shows our passion for craft and for art, the spirit and the strength of the woodland. This place is a conglomeration of the work and the creativity of the so many remarkable people who have contributed their creativity and their skills to this place, to this living place, to our space. Not just the building, but the entire space that we live in. It is so important, from my perspective, that the artists feel the freedom and creativity within that those confines to create their own vision. I wanted something that made a statement, that was a different expression of what a tree is.
Hello, my name is Greg Levitt, and I'm a metal sculptor. I am constantly challenged artistically by my work. I am enthusiastic about it. I dream about it. It's endless. In 1973, the Artists Blacksmiths Association of North America, which is ABANA, was formed because there were people like myself who were becoming fascinated with this art form. And I said, that's for me. I use many techniques in my work, but blacksmithing is the foundational aspect of it. Blacksmithing can be considered both an art and a craft. It is a time-honored historical process which uses earth, air, fire, and water, the four basic elements. The steel and the copper came out of the ground, the coal and propane to heat the metal, to make it malleable, came out of the ground, the air with a blower to fan the fire. It's a wonderful, beautiful process that I'm still totally enamored with.
I fell in love with the sculpture at Greg's studio. I decided that I needed to have a piece of his work immediately, and so I purchased the Verrazano bird, which is now in my sculpture garden. I felt that I had really clicked with Greg. I thought we really understood each other, and we decided to pursue the commission of a work for the main entry area of our home.
I believe the concept evolved for this project with Mrs. Kalogris wanting to do something to change certain openings in the front of the house.
People who were visiting us would often come to the slider instead of going to the front door. We thought of possibly doing away with the slider, but it was something that we enjoyed, and we had gotten used to having it, and we liked it. So we started to try to brainstorm what other things might work to call a little bit more attention to our main entrance.
We first came up with the idea of a tree that would hold up part of the house, literally, part of the porch. I knew that I could pull this off structurally and artistically. Subsequent to that, it evolved into a second tree, which then would have the feeling of an arch, something that would be comforting and direct one towards the center of the door, something as magnificent as we could come up with.
Greg realized that because he was constructing this within this enormous studio of his, that it would be very helpful if he had a full-size mock-up of the front of our house so that it would fit perfectly into its ultimate home. And so Larry, our contractor, ended up spending a few days doing a full-size mock-up of the front of our house in Greg's studio.
The construction of the tree itself, both trees in fact, were constructed around huge boulders. Every aspect of safety was designed into it and overbuilt. We use the term hot wrapping in order to almost like a shrink fit with some of the root structures that wrap around the boulders. They were then welded to a heavy plate at the bottom, which was then anchored to a super foundation to hold 8,000 pounds and 6,000 pounds respectively. It has inside of each tree, there are heavy wall pipes welded together. Pieces are connected almost like a structure like in a bridge or the Eiffel Tower. Everything is connected to something else, so there's nothing left to chance. The branches, which were expansive in the studio, were obviously too wide to fit on an 8-foot wide limit for a heavy truck to go down a highway. So these branches were subsequently labeled and numbered and then cut apart using slings and a crane to hold them, because they're could be very dangerous if they were to swing apart. With the overhead crane and another rigger's heavy-duty crane, we lifted the trees over and then loaded them onto the trucks and transported them to the site. The installation of the major tree trunks and boulders went perfectly. And then there was a approximately 2-month period where branches were fit. We'd have to look at it at each piece and get on and off the high lift with the welding equipment, crawl through it. I used a safety harness in some aspects to protect myself from falling. Copper pipe templates, and there were vine-like pieces which were hot wrapped and shrunk and welded onto the branches. Leaves and other small pieces were welded to the main branches. There was never any doubt in my mind that I could execute this project.
It is creative, it is artistic,
there are a few surprises.
Phantasmagorical.
You can't ignore it.
I think it's a masterpiece. It took a village to create Greg's tree. Obviously, Greg is the master artist, the master sculptor, and the master blacksmith who created the sculpture and created this amazing piece. There are many people who participated in the building, the installing, and the enhancement of the piece, the placing of the piece into its environment, and the incorporating of the piece into its environment. I think that watching that gave me a great appreciation for how much effort was put into making this beautiful art form.